Hi, everyone. Welcome to Design and Dialogue number 54. Today, I have the great honor of welcoming Domitilla Dardi, curator at the Museo Maxi in Rome, in Architectura. Domitilla and Elena Tanacci are co-curators of a really exciting new digital project called Casamondo. Casamondo is the first if I'm not mistaken, exhibition conceived and developed for Instagram. So we'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit about the Maxi, and a bit about the other exhibitions that Domitilla has curated. So please join me in welcoming Domitilla Dardi.
Thank you, Stephen. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited because it's the first time I have the chance, and thank you for this, to speak about Casamondo. It's really a big challenge for us because it's the first digital exhibition of the museum. And when I try to find something similar on the web, I have to be honest, I haven't found something in this exact direction, but I don't want to spoil nothing, just to share my screen, and maybe we can start to talk about what is the Maxi, because I imagine the most part of you haven't been in Rome, in Italy, and maybe you know the Maxi just by the web, by pictures. And so here we are. This is our museum, our beloved museum. And this is a work by Dardi, conceived in 1998, but realized in 2010. That means a huge quantity of time for the realization, but you know, for Italian style, it's not so long. And you can see that. Okay, you can see that the museum, it's someone said that it's the last real Dardi architecture. It means that, you know, in Dardi work career, we can consider two phases. The first phase is the most linked to study and education in mathematics, the relationship with the suprematism, constructivism, and the second phase is the one where she went into the parametrical dimension. And so the Maxi is an original 100% first phase as I did work.
Sorry if I could just interrupt. Could we go back to that previous image, because I think it's quite striking. See the Maxi in context with its surrounding buildings.
Yes.
It's this aerial view. It really gives it a sense of the scale and the presence that it has.
Yes, because we are not in the center of the city. We are used to think about Rome as the ancient Rome. We are, you know, in a zone that it's very close to the center, but it's a bourgeois zone, we can say, a middle class zone. And the regularity of the other buildings are because in all this area, the owner was the National Army. And in the concept of Zaha, she wanted to respect this idea of a very strong regularity connected with her own ideas of fluidity in architecture. Mm-hmm. And so when we go here, you can see the relationship, for example, between the building and the piazza, the square in front of the museum, that it's an integral part of the museum. We use it as a sort of open air gallery to realize a lot of installation and exhibition outside. And here, I want to keep your attention here, because later we will see an exhibition here. This is the gallery number 5, maybe the most spectacular one. And this idea of Zaha to create this perspicacity on the square, and this idea to face the zone and not what is in the back. I mean, the historical center. It's a precise position. She wanted to conceive the museum as a gift to the city, as a gift to the public. And we have always interpreted this architectural desire as one of our mission. We think that culture museums are a service to the public.
I think we should clarify that the Maxi is the only Italian national museum devoted to contemporary creativity, right? So it's more than an architecture museum.
Yes, it's the National Museum of Architecture, and we have one of the most important collection in architecture in Italy. And actually, we have the coexistence of two museums in one, because there is an art museum and an architecture museum.
Right.
And so we share spaces and programs together. And so here is one of the, this is not just a passage of the museum, but it's actually as a gallery, and make you feel the quality of the space. Somebody tell us, oh, it's quite a nightmare to work in a museum like that without rooms. But you know, I totally disagree with this position, because in our contemporaneity, it's so important to have this possibility to scroll the space, to use it as a flow. And for something that it's a narrative, it's really a great advantage. It's not a problem at all. The opposite, it's really a great advantage. And these are, you know, one of the lobby and the spectacular stairways. And okay, here we are inside one of the exhibition that you can find at the moment into the museum. This is an exhibition dedicated to domestic architecture, starting from our collections. And the exhibition was open in the late months of 2019. And then we stopped, evidently, in March and April and May because of the corona. And when we reopened the museum in June, the curators of the exhibition, Pippo Ciara, who is also the curator of the architecture section, and Margherita Guccione, who was the director of the architecture section, asked me to think something close to the idea of how we live our houses during the pandemic, and the furniture, the idea of using the spaces of our houses. And so it was so interesting, because it's an experiment of rewriting an exhibition. So this was the exhibition before the first phase, the first presentation. You can see all the beautiful drawings that we have in our collection. Maybe here you can see a picture of Villa Malaparte in Capri, Baia d'Alberto Libera, and many, many other masterworks. And then we move it into this. We really use this layer as posters to rethink the domestic architecture, not just considering the external part of architecture, but even the indoor, the inside of the shape, architectonical shape. And so we use
if I can add, they're actually currently at the Maxi, you've also been involved in 3 other exhibitions, correct? There's
yes.
Ponti is on at the Maxi at the same time, Loving Architecture. You also have Konstantin Gricic, Imagination and Power.
Yes, it is.
And then on Instagram, also Casa Mondo.
Exactly,
so
exactly.
I think this combination of the exhibitions together, you know, sort of speaks to the current conditions in different ways.
Yes, I want to tell you, in fact, that we have a sort of a guideline in this moment at the museum, a sort of a leitmotif that it's the reflection about how architecture interprets the houses, the domestic spaces. And so this exhibition is about this, and we created these duets between a master of the past and a contemporary designer. So you have, yes, Giocolo Ben Burulek and many others, Bruno Munari and Müller van Severen, Sotsas and Konstantin Gurcic again, Castiglioni and Giuseppe Rezzi, who is a young talent. And we finish with this video wall with a lot of interviews we made during the lockdown to architects expressing their own experience of this period inside the houses. In the square, we have two installation. One is this work by the Italian duo Vedova Mazzei. The name of this little house, very critical title, is After Love. And this is the installation by Lucy Stiles, who won the honorary award we have for the Young Architects program. It's a program shared with MoMA and PS1, starting from the first opening of the museum in 2010, because now we are celebrating our 10th anniversary. And Lucy Stiles created this very interesting open air house where the sense of intimacy, you can see it's completely open air, and there is no real boundaries between indoor and outdoor. And you have a physical object, your everyday life objects, inside this installation, but you have no ceiling. You have just these walls realized in wood, very light, and the dimensions are the one of a real house. So it's really interesting to use this this house like you are in an indoor, but you actually are absolutely outdoor. And then what you were mentioned, the Gio Ponti. The Gio Ponti exhibition is, you know, one of our, I have to say, best success of the last few years. We realized that this exhibition dedicated to the Gio Ponti architect, because in the last few years, we have been seeing a lot of exhibition dedicated to design, decorative and applied arts by Gio Ponti, but not really a focus dedicated to Gio Ponti architects. And we have the incredible opportunity to show pieces of this beautiful archive. It was an archive in Parma that has been closed for many years. And for example, we show these beautiful pictures by the Gio Ponti house in Milano, in Via Dezza, and we reconstruct here, for example, a piece of the original, with the original tiles still in production now. And these incredible drawings that, you know, the nephews of Gio Ponti confessed me that they saw these drawings for the first time, because they have never had the opportunity to see this archive for many years.
Domitilla,
And so,
can we go back to the first image, the color image of the interior?
Yeah.
Here. This is fascinating because, you know, in the older pictures, right, we only see them in black and white.
Yeah.
And so we have this perception that modernism was somehow without color. And
yes, and even the continuity between, for example, art and interior design, because this is a portrait of the family by Gio Ponti and by Campigli. And the same colors are reflected on the nuance chosen for the floor. And
I had another
yes.
question as well, Domitilla. You haven't shown any pictures of the museum with people inside. So just curious, now that museums around the world are beginning to reopen, and here in New
Yeah.
York in particular, they're opening with only 25% of the visitors they previously had. How did the Maxi open? Was it a full opening, or were you at 50% or 25%?
No, we open in a regular way starting from June. I have to be honest, the numbers are not the one we were used before the pandemic disease, but it's so optimistic to see people that choose to spend time during their summer holidays into museum, because it's not something that you have to go to consider as automatic. And so the fact that people want to continue to improve their cultural attitudes, it's really, for me, a very welcoming aspect of this moment.
No, I mean, it's fantastic to be able to
Yeah.
museum now. It's so invigorating to not just be in a social context, but to, just to look at art and just to kind of dream.
Yeah, and the spaces in general in museums, I'm always saying the spaces are so safe because they are so large and so fresh. So don't spend time into the discotheque where you have a lot of problems, but go into museums. It's funny and it's safer, and your culture will be thankful with you. And so this is just to tell you that the domestic studies were part of our research in this period. And when we fell into the lockdown in March, we were studying, for example, all the radical groups, the neo-avant-garde of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And we have noticed that there was really an incredible link with what is happening today and what happened in the past. For example, if you go through, I have here for you an original copy of the new domestic landscape, and then it's so old and so used.
Anyway, I love this book. I have two copies, in fact, and
Yes.
The first one I found without the small cutouts under the
Yeah,
vellum.
I have it.
But my second copy, I have it too, and I have it perfectly wrapped on my bookshelf.
Okay, and so
But
it was one of my best friends during the lockdown, and together with Elena Tinacci, we noticed that in that period there was a big instance to create a connection between indoor and outdoor, the inside of architecture and the outside, the domestic and the urban. And it was, for many reasons, but I think the most important is to create this link between human being and nature, natural and artificial, the small scale and the large scale. So they created a sort of arrow with a one-way direction. Now we are experimenting exactly the same arrow, but with two directions, because the world became a part of our domestic experience. And in fact, we call these the super functions, because, we create a sort of manifesto, exactly like these groups made in the 60s and 70s. And yes, for us, is the Casa Mondo is the house that absorbed the functions that we were used to do outside of our houses. And so the functional inside our houses became a sort of super functions. In the other hand, we had the great emergency to think about how can we create a home delivered culture. And
This is
when
quite a funny term. I love this. This is because
yeah,
obviously we're in the age of having everything delivered to our homes, especially here in America with Amazon. Um,
yeah,
People are ordering toothbrushes and batteries and, one object at a time. So the idea that we would also have home delivered culture, I think is fascinating.
yes, we wanted to underline this idea of something that it's started from the commercial behaviors and could turn into cultural habits. And so our ideas was to yes, to maintain a very deep connection with our public. And I have to say that our president, Giovanna Melandri, was fantastic in this sense, because in 1 week, maybe 2, she turned all the stuff into a digital editing team. And so we started to create all these short videos about our collections, the masterpieces we have into the museum, the
So
exhibitions.
at this stage in the development of the project, had you already engaged Forma Fantasma, Studio Forma
Exactly.
Fantasma at the
In
design?
this moment, I was wondering. Okay, we have, like in our methodological attitude during the exhibition, we have this historical research. We have the opportunity to ask authors, architects, and designers to express themselves with a special commission work. And we need someone who care about the layout, the design layout. And so I choose to speak about this with the Forma Fantasma, because Andrea and Simone for me are two big friends, but also I think the best studio who managed in the last few years, who has managed the idea to transfer the historical archive into a new fruition, a new functional archive using the technological tools. If you saw their on Instagram, it's not just a collection of free time pictures or something they like, and that's all. No, it's really a work tool, and they use it in a very creative way. And so when I asked them, what do you think about this project? As I'm always used to do with an architect who is in charge for the design layout, I'm not in the position to say I want this kind of solution. I need 3 walls and I don't know, 4 corners to hang on the drawings. Not at all. I expect from a designer that he understands in a very, very well way, in a very, very correct way, our theoretical and critical hypothesis, the curatorial hypothesis, and then it's up to them. They have to interpret in a spatial sense.
Sure.
And
That was
so
actually my question. What was the brief to Forma Fantasma?
The brief was that we talk a lot about the historical references and this connection that are not just, a speculation question, but it's on our skin, it's in our experience in everyday life. And so we really spoke a lot about this. And in the end, I asked them, what do you think? Do you think that all this material have to wait the reopening of the museum, or we can invent something to join our public? I would love to think that in few months we will be able to enter again in the museum, but if not, all this material, all this heritage is just freezed in for better times.
Yeah.
I want to continue to have a dialogue with the public exactly as we are with all the videos, all the Instagram.
This is what I think is so brilliant about the project, is that all museums around the world are asking the same question right now. What do we do with our collections? How do we share our collections even prior to COVID, right? There were considerations around digital media and how do you share the collection online, and what is the relationship of kind of video tours to the museum, etc. So I think.
And the problem is that if you don't understand that digital tools are creative tools exactly like others, so you cannot use it as a double of the real experience. If you use it in that way, I think you failed.
It's a missed opportunity, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because you have to understand the digital tools, that it's completely different from just showing, a virtual tour of your collections. For me, virtual tours of collection are so boring, I have to say. I expect from the web something that it's different. And otherwise, I will have just the nostalgia to be, yes, really in front of the artwork. No?
It's more than the web, though. It's Instagram, which is, I think, a very interesting choice. It's a kind of obvious choice, but at the same time, it's a very curious choice because there's so many limitations. So tell us why Instagram and how you kind of negotiated that.
This is a brilliant idea by the Forma Fantasma, because when I asked them, in my personal limited idea, I imagine something very flat, like an ebook or something like that. And when Andrea and Simone proposed the idea of Instagram, boom! I think it was really a brilliant idea. I said, bingo! We have our solution, because we want to maintain this free access exactly as we made with our principal Maxi account. We want to be direct, and what they let me notice is that, and I want to go now into, okay, this is our Casamondo.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Yes, this is the real Instagram. We are inside the exhibition. This is like the entrance of the exhibition. Now we have the manifesto, and we started with all the historical references. Every post, it's a specific view on a masterpiece of the past and the present. And what the Forma Fantasma told me was, Instagram, it's exactly like a house, like a building, because you start from the foundations, the ground floor, yes, the foundations, because here you have the electrical system, the air system, and so on. And then you have each post as a window, and you can enter inside this window and enter inside the world that the window is showing. And so
You can almost think of this as a kind of elevation, right?
yeah,
We're seeing
exactly.
in an elevation.
Exactly. And so we are used to see as a flat word on our screen, our smartphone screen. But if you consider as a section of a house, you can really enter into a three-dimensional use of Instagram.
And
then
in that sense, it's very voyeuristic, right? Because imagine you're flying outside
absolutely.
the building and you're looking through windows
Absolutely.
and you can kind of pop in where you like.
Yeah, so we are a little bit voyeur in this in this project, and so we started the general layout started with the presentation of the 7 topics. And for example, the first one was open windows, but I want to show you in a precise way. I just want to now scroll into the Instagram and let you see that there is always the same system.
Let's let me just add for our viewers watching that there were 7 designers chosen
Exactly.
for the project, and they are I believe in order: Umberto Campana with a project called Open Windows, Konstantin Gricic with a project called Learning, Marty Guichet, Food, Didier Fusa Faustino, Care, Becca and Lemoyne, Exploring, filmmakers Becca and Lemoyne. I love this project.
Exactly.
And the architect Sue Fujimoto, considering thresholds. And lastly, Patricia Archiola, thinking about homeworking.
Exactly. So, and we prefer to think about all these functions as a sort of zoning. We keep this term from the urban planning, because this is a part of the concept of this exhibition. When you are using your house as a word, the only possible word you have in the possibility to use, this house is like a city. And so you cannot think about single rooms, living room, bedrooms, bathrooms, but it's more about the functions that you are used to
well, conceptually speaking, because it's Instagram and because you have this grid, right? You can view it at multiple scales, I suppose, right? So
yes,
you can see it as a city, you can see it as a building, you can see them as individual rooms, and then within you, as you mentioned before, the double arrow functions to kind of take you deeper into the project.
And the fantastic thing is that this is completely a structure, an existent structure that Instagram give us as a present, and it's just from the vision of an intelligent designers like Forma Fantasma Studio, that you can have the possibility to turn it into a new vision. So the perception completely changes, but nothing that wasn't before on the Instagram. So it's just the layer, to add the layer of the creative interpretation. And so
they're operating more beyond the function of an exhibition designer, but also as co-curators in a sense, right?
Yes, in a sense, I agree with you. Ellen and I, we collect the research, the historical research, and the pre-project research. Then we have the interpretation of the single 7 designers. And yes, every time we face with Forma Fantasma to understand what is the best solution to make the public in the position to enter inside this different Instagram. And so, for example, we use projects like, you know, the masterpiece of our archive. We have one of the most important found of Aldo Rossi in the world. Then we match together the past, the present, and the future. So, for example, this composition is so important for me because you have the Gio Ponti, La Casa Entro l'Armadio, that it's a house inside a wardrobe. An incredible idea if you consider that it's dated in 1944, and then and then you have these wardrobes as skyscrapers, buildings in an urban planning in the vision by Archizoom in 1972.
And you know, so, those actually remind me of even of Satsas's super boxes, which were around the same time.
And so it's incredible that for different reasons in the past, they reasoned about this kind of topics. And now we are in front of our wardrobe, and this is the limit of our world. And so we have to start seeing the thing in a different way. So, for example, another incredible project, the not very well-known project by Le Corbusier. It's maybe the only surrealist project by Le Corbusier, the Beistegui apartment. He realized in a roof in front of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. And he creates this incredible living room, you know, with a fire wall, and but we are on a terrace on a roof, and so it's always an incredible questioning, I'm inside or outside an architecture. So architecture is about indoor or outdoor. And in the same time, we have the super studio, the fundamental acts with this spring cleaning that means that all the surface of the wall would be a super surface with this rational grid and many other fundamentals. I don't want to spoil too much.
I just wanted to ask, I mean, thinking about that moment in Italian design, the radical design period, and that reflection on the exhibition from the MoMA, the new domestic landscape. There are parallels to our time in terms of the political strife and the uprisings that we see around us. And I'm wondering, why do you think that particular moment in Italy still continues to be such an inspiration?
Because it was a moment of a big crisis, and it was a moment of a refoundation. And I think that this is a positive message to reread and relearn from this moment, because you know, in that moment they have problems with the petroleum crisis, problems with the social crisis. It was really the beginning of a new world, and I think that we could be in a similar critical moment, and it's up to you to use it as a challenge or as you know, the end of the ancient world. So I want to interpret. Yes, I want to interpret it in this way. So the open windows by Umberto Campana, for example, we conceive the open windows as the physical windows. So the windows is the boundary between inside and outside. The voyeuristic attitude you were talking about, it's absolutely in our experience. I don't know you, but I spend a lot of time looking outside if someone is passing by in the garden or in the street. And Umberto, who is a real intelligent, creative author, interpreted it in a completely different way from you and you. And he imagined these windows, these open windows, to an interior life. And so this is a sort of a very, very touching diary of his quarantine. And, you know, in a certain passage, he really make me cry in a deep sense, because it's so intimate what he showed to us. It's so generous. He realized this collage in a physical way with the scissors and you know, the pictures stolen by the magazines.
And you can feel it. You can feel that it's more organic.
Exactly.
Like
Even
almost.
exactly. Even if we are in the digital screen, you can feel it that it's physical, and he accompanied all this collage with a thought. Collage are a shell created to protect myself. And I can absolutely understand it, because you know, I think that very often artists use art to protect themselves, as a sort of therapy of to fight fears and anxiety.
As we've all been sheltering in place, I mean, I can say for myself, design has definitely become a bit of therapy for me.
Exactly. So you know very well.
And those images are somehow, through the collage, directly related to the Super Studio images that we saw.
Yes, I think even if I didn't give him a brief about this, absolutely not. They have the possibility to go into a shared folder where we collect all our research, but I think nobody of them check out our research, and they were very free to think about the general concept of the exhibition. The only thing I asked them, all of them, is to be visionary. I didn't want to receive from them, you know, a product or a physical artwork. For once in a time, I told them, you are completely free. This is not a material exhibition, so let's enjoy this immaterial condition. And this is why I think that the digital tools have to be designed from the beginning and not to use as a double of the material world.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to be
maybe
faster.
We can continue using the Instagram instead. Can we go directly to the Instagram?
Okay, if you prefer, yes, why not? I can go through. Okay, so we were here, The Food by Martí Guichet. You know, Martí realized one of the best theory about food. He has been studying these aspects of his research for many years, and he synthesized everything in this work using his very particular drawing. And with this how can I say, child drawing, he was able to say so deep reflection about what food is for us today. In 2 words, he considered that we had 2 moments in our cultural Western experience, 2 big crises. The one is the face to the terrorism after September 11, and the other one is now with the COVID-19. And so all our habits, all our behaviors about food, that means condivision, that means sharing yes, experience with friends, was completely constricted by the condition of the COVID and the quarantine. And so in a certain sense, we underline the spectacular aspect into what he called, for example, the city chef. This is sort of a city smartphone chef that you can use.
The theoretical chef.
Yes, a theoretical a digital chef that take the place of our mom.
Domitilla, can you speak a little bit about the structure of the Instagram? How often
Yes.
how often were these posts made? And,
okay, we had this presentation of the topic, then 5 posts about the fundamentals, that means historical and contemporary fundamentals, then the interpretation by the single designers, and then they have the possibility to create 12 posts. So 12 images, videos, and the media was absolutely their choice. I didn't give them a precise direction in this sense, because I think that, to choose a drawing or a digital collage or a physical collage, it's part of the interpretation.
And how often were they posting these images?
We post for yes, we had the general managing of the account, one per day starting from mid-June.
Okay.
Now the posts are finished and we have the roof, but in September we will have a few surprises.
Okay.
Little surprises. So learning that it's such an important topic for us today. We are questioning to open or not to open schools, and learning it's not just about to think how children could learn something when they don't have the possibility to share their lives into classes. And Konstantin Gurcic interpreted this topic in such an intelligent way, because he went in depth to the origin of what learning is in our modern culture, contemporary culture. And so I think maybe this image of the Plato cave meets, it's
can you click on that one image, Domitilla?
Yeah.
See it a little bit larger.
Yeah, this
is fascinating, because it really captures that concept of Plato's cave, right? Of the intellectual retreating to kind of find knowledge, but at the same time also the feeling of having to do remote learning, etc. How lonely that situation can be. So it's really
yes, and this is, for example, another collage, but a digital collage, where he mixed together a traditional picture of a bourgeois living room that it's our maybe fake idea of protection, of what is safe for us, and we delegated to the television communication from the social, in general the media, all our knowledge about what is happening outside in the world. And so one of our goals, one of our principal challenge in this moment is to understand what is fake and what is real. And this is becomes so urgent when you don't have the possibility to go outside and verify with your own eyes, your own ears. And so I think that every single picture created by Konstantin, it's in the direction of be really attentive, be really awake of what the communication and the information could tell us. And so learning is principle in this sense. And I loved, for example, I have to say that he used these digital icons that are, yes, the emoji we use every day, but even there is it reminds me a little bit, you know, the first video games.
Yeah, it
And,
also it feels like it's borrowed from the gaming industry. Yeah.
exactly. And for many of us, for sure for my generation, the first contact with digital tools was through video games. And so, you know, the Pac-Man was a sort of a friend of my childhood. And this idea to go into the first connection with digital tools, it's in this smart graphic he used. Now, The Care by Didier Faustino. Faustino is such a, you know, an intelligent man. He has this critical mind, and he created this. He was the only one who used the horizontal image because he he used the possibility of Instagram to compose pictures together, and so he created these three horizontal four horizontal big images. And the result is something really dystopic, because you have the sensation of this man that could be everybody, but it's about loneliness, solitude. It's about the facing the real archetypical elements. And so you have this image of the water and the fire,
Right.
and he wanted to give us this idea of care is about face us in the mirror, and maybe for the first time you are not disturbed by the life outside, and you have to face yourself.
Is he also questioning how we care for ourselves when we don't have social contact, right?
Yeah,
When we're
yes.
cut off from the world.
So it's a very deep impact, I think, this work by Didier. Threshold,
Would you mind jumping ahead to actually the Becca and Lemoyne work?
okay.
I would love to see some of those videos. I love the work of Su Fujimoto, of course, but
okay, very fast as the Su Fujimoto, and then the Patricia Urquiola. No, I do. Yes, I go into the Becca Lemoine, but you know, I think that, for example, Patricia realized such a funny interpretation of home working, but at the same time, it's so sharply and deeply critical, because home working for a woman, it's something she's so used to be. And so, for example, she created this translation of the Guerrilla Girls Manifesto, the advantages of being a woman artist, to be a woman at home. That means that if you are a woman at all, you are absolutely in the position to manage everything, the work, the children, the house, everything. And so she creates her own avatar, and every single post, it's a little video.
This is amazing. We talked a little bit like this about this when Patricia was on the show a few weeks ago, and she mentioned her avatar. And I think that it's fascinating, because when we think about a man working at home, right, now that we're all sheltering in place and working from home, the man working at home is only dealing with work, but the woman working at home is kind of presupposed to deal with work and domestic labor and children, et cetera, managing the whole household. So it's great how she creates a whole apartment. If you scroll down, you can kind of see how they're connected. It's really beautiful.
Yes, and here, for example, she uses her own voice to.
Do we have audio?
Her face. Please.
I'm not sure if we have audio from the Instagram.
You don't hear it?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I tried again. No?
Probably not. Maybe because you're on your
Ah,
headphone.
okay. I
But
can.
everyone can visit and listen to you.
Exactly. I was just saying that. Go into the Casamondo and enjoy by yourself. This is
Absolutely,
our
absolutely.
game. Yes.
Please show the
And
last one there, Domitilla. Sorry, the Jacob Lawrence painting by Patricia. Uh,
yes.
I love, that's my favorite one. Actually, a little bit, yeah, that one there.
Which one?
It's this one here where the robotic arm is kind of making,
This one.
yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
So here she's also making a commentary on
Yeah.
on race, right? Like Jacob Lawrence, the African American painter,
Exactly.
quoted as saying
Exactly.
the females were the last to arrive north because they
Yes.
were still working.
In fact, she mixed so many layers. So, you know, the up culture, the common culture, the female, the male, the woman, the work in career, and the woman at the house. And we were thinking that, for example, the only real people used to do a real home working are the housekeepers or housewives. And it's not by chance that Beck and Lemoine show us one of the most famous housekeepers in the world. The
So just for our audience, this is from a film.
can you hear it?
No, we can't hear it, but there are subtitles here.
Okay.
But this is from a film released in 2008, which is a kind of documentary of the Rim Koolhaas masterpiece in the south of France. What is the name of the house, Domitilla?
You know, I think there is no name, no an exact name. But now it's the Guadalupe's house because Guadalupe became so famous, and she's the housekeeper, and all the Beck and Lemoine's work is about how architecture is conceived and how we can learn something more about architecture, starting from the point of view of the users, the final users of this architecture, because an architecture is not just a manifesto. A house is not just a masterpiece, but it's a place that you have to clean. It's a place that you have to live with.
It has to be lived in. Can you play the Moriyama video as well?
Yes, and they use, I want to underline that all these frames are unpublished. It's a part of the, you know, the work they use for the principal film, but they have a lot of these frames not used at all. And so they realize new edition of these videos. So all these 12 videos are really a gift from them to the Casamondo and to all of us, all the public of Casamondo. And
fantastic, because we rarely get this kind of inside look at the reality of a designed work, right? How people live with objects that are designed, how people live in a house that's designed.
And this is an incredible house. The owner is this man who live in these boxes, and all the functions are completely separated, but the conception of the house is we can say a climatic conception, because the weather is part of the experience of the house. You have to pass through the rain, the sun, if you want to go from the bathroom to the living room to the bedroom. Exactly. And for example, his habits to see television is to have the screen in front of one of these boxes. And so in general, we think about this kind of architecture as you know, a theoretical experience, but it's completely different from the point of view of the users. It became so human, And sometimes in the opposite, the position of the architects seems a little bit, you know, with the gap with the real life.
Yeah.
And so in a very, very nice and polite way, I think that all these 7 interpretation of the topics of Casamondo have in common, first of all, the generosity by these designers, because they really create you know, this works for the free access for the public. And second of all, the fact that all these works seem, you know, very, very nice to see, very, very, it's a pleasure to visit this post. But at the same time, there is such a deep critical message in all of them. And
Well,
I think, you know, this is what culture is for.
Culture delivered home.
Culture delivered home. Exactly, exactly.
Bravo,
you cannot order on Amazon, but you can visit on Instagram.
You can order from Maxi.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. This has been incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's really a successful project, and I urge everyone to visit on Instagram. Maybe we have time for a few questions, if you don't mind, Domitilla. Can we?
Yes, of course.
Go back to,
I'm here.
Maybe we can stop sharing the screen and we can go back to yeah, there we go. So let's have a look to see if we have any questions. Okay, let me see. We have a few. Okay, well, I answered the one. I think you answered the one. Barbara Gifford was wondering, was the work released all at once on Instagram or day by day? And of course, you answered this question already.
Yes,
day by day.
Day by day for starting from June 18th, and we finish now.
Yeah.
We finished this week, and for September, I think that maybe we will start the IGTV for Casamondo. But you know, the nice thing of Instagram is that it's forever. And so we are not finishing. And I want to answer with another question of this project, this experiment, that when you curate an exhibition, you have a big work before, and the day of the opening, everything or the most part is done. And so in a certain sense, the opening of the exhibition is the end for the curators and the beginning for the public. In this Instagram exhibition, we really share with the public every single day. And so it's a completely different way to feel, to perceive the exhibition, because you are in a direct dialogue with the public. Every single day you have the worries, are the materials okay? You have to publish until 9 p.m. And so it's...
you also have the pleasure, right? If you're the viewer at home, you have the pleasure of receiving from the museum on a daily basis. So that's
exactly
really fantastic in that regard.
Because I think that social networks are wonderful if you use it in a generous way. Yeah. And the public recognize this generosity, I think. So
do you think that there's the possibility for this exhibition to return to the museum in any way? I mean, not that you would take exactly the same thing, but could there be a kind of transformation of this content?
You know, actually inside the at-home exhibition, there is a laptop where you can enter into the Casamondo Instagram. And so we propose to the physical public as a sort of artwork inside the exhibition. But I think that it's very difficult, and I'm wondering, maybe it's a mistake to transfer what was thought for the immaterial world into the material ones. For
Right.
example, it's not possible to give the playful aspect of Patricia Urquiola dollhouse. It's up to you. You have to enter and to visit every single post. Yes, and to play.
We had another question, Malika Leeper. I'm not sure if she's on and would like to ask herself. Malika, are you there? Yep, here she is.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, thank you. This has been such an incredible exhibition, so thought-provoking, and I've learned a lot. I have a few questions. One of them is, do you plan on doing another Instagram exhibition, given how successful I think that this one was? Maybe you can begin with just that one.
Okay, thank you, Malika. This is a very good question, and many people are asking me the same. And yes, I hope so. In our ideas, this kind of tool could become a sort of yes, a tool that we will use during the real exhibition. I mean that when you make a research and you have such an heritage of materials for an exhibition, sometimes you don't have the possibility to show everything in the exhibition and you have to do a selection. So maybe to realize an Instagram exhibition that accompanies the real one could be a nice solution, but I want to underline that the digital Instagram exhibition should be a designed tool. This is a point very important for me, because otherwise, you know, it's just to recreate something that it's not in the original design.
Yeah, yeah. What about a publication, Domitilla?
Oh, another time, I think it's very difficult to transfer the videos. And for example, we haven't seen the Su Fujimoto works, but Su Fujimoto realized these works that are a right compromise between the physical painting, ink on paper of the Japanese tradition, and a digital tools. If you move it and translate it into the physical ink on paper, I think that you are gonna lose something and not to gain something.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if I can explain it in the right way, but I think that there was a big effort from all these architects and designers to use this as a real challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's nice to respect them.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much, Domitilla.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
I really hope to see you in person very soon.
Me too.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Next Wednesday, please join us for my co-host Glenn Adamson's talk with Felix Berichter of Pinup Magazine. Thanks, everybody. This has been wonderful. Design and Dialogue.